So this is the Ricoh R1. It was a predecessor to the GR1, GR1S, GR1V that are very popular. It's kind of a cheap camera. The back's all plastic. It's very plasticky, it's super light. The front is like a, what should I call it, like a pressed piece of aluminum or something. It's really thin, but this is metal. You can see kind of in the corner here. It's a little scratched and you can see some metallic bits showing up there. This light's kind of tough, apologize, it's kind of glaring it, but it's actually an interesting color. I think they have a few, there's a silver and a gray. This one's actually this like super deep forest green color almost. It looks kind of gray, but it in person has a greenish tint. It looks like they made a gray and a green, and if you look at the top plate, there's a slight color difference. I would say the back plastic has a slight more gray, whereas the front has more of that green-ish tone, but it's kind of cool. Power buttons right here on the back. I'll turn it on here. You can see the lens come out, and then it doesn't pre-focus if you put it into the center. You guys can see this. This is the. I'll go through the modes actually. This is what they call like super night mode, where it basically, it doesn't always do it. Sometimes it just kind of takes a photo with flash, but the idea, if you look in the manual, is it takes two photos. I forget which one's first. One of them it takes with the flash of the subject at that focus, whatever it's focusing on, and then it takes another one without the flash at infinity at a slower shutter speed. The idea is to kind of get a photo of your subject with the flash, in the dark, and then get a little bit of ambient background so it's not all black behind your subject. Kind of works okay sometimes. I'll show you some examples in the video here a little later, but I've taken them with and without. I've tried the mode, I've tried the phone a few different times, and sometimes I think it worked well, other times it didn't. This is some mountains landscape mode. It just always fires, so you half press you press. Sorry, let me turn off it won't do the flash thing either, so it just focuses infinity, and then this is the one, if you half press it, this is only going to focus in the center point, and it actually pre-focuses. The idea, it says center point. Obviously, if you didn't have this and the subject's in the center, it will catch the center point. There's kind of like three focus points spread across the center, like middle and then left, right. This one will just pre-focus. The other ones don't focus, so I'll turn off flash here. It'll only focus. See, I'm half pressing nothing. You can hear a little sound, but it's not actually, it's just acquiring focus. You have to fully press it down to get the actual focus, and then you'll take the shot. Flash modes, normal, red eye reduction, no flash, forced flash, and then I can't remember what this one does where it flickers flash. Honestly, I haven't even looked in the manual much, just kind of glanced through it. This is for a remote. There's a little sensor right here. Let me turn it off actually. There's a little sensor right here that would be where it picks it up. I don't have it. I don't know where you could buy it. But what else? This light is for when you do the countdown, the self-timer. That remote one actually is for self-timer too, so if you don't even have the remote and you just use it, you can see the lights flashing, and it also flashes or glows the front light, and then eventually will time down and take a shot, as you see here in a moment. What else? Oh yeah, the modes. So normal is it's a, as you can see, a 30mm. Get the focus right. It's a 30mm f3.5. They call it a macro lens. I don't know why, because it can focus close. You'll see this is 24mm wide panorama. It's not really a 24mm lens because it doesn't really cover the whole lens or cover the whole image circle. It has these panorama modes. So this one is just the 30mm. Yeah, 30mm with the little bars at the top and bottom, just basically, shielding the top and the bottom of the frame. Sort of silly, but it's kind of fun sometimes. And then this one, you'll hear it actually shifts. This one kind of inserts some other lens or something. I've read, I can't really tell. You can't really see it inside, but it actually does make it wider, and then it also does those shields. There's a way apparently you can jam something in there, supposedly. You can see, actually here, you can see it. So that's normal. This is normal with the shields, and then this is, it's not, because it's open, it's not shifting around, but something is like being inserted in the lens or something. But there's a way to apparently keep these open. You stick something in there or something, so when you put it into that mode, it puts in that lens but doesn't shield it. You'll get a lot of vignetting, and it's apparently really softer on the outside, but you know, it's interesting. I haven't messed around with that. I kind of enjoy the bars. It kind of has like a cinematic look, and you know, I'll show you a couple samples here. Here's one that kind of just looks cinematic of my kids. You can see without the bars in this image, it's not as kind of cinematic. And then talking about the kind of vignetting and whatnot, here's another shot with just the panoramic shutters of the sky, and you can see, you know, it's pretty evenly exposed, obviously. But now when I shift to the panoramic mode in this shot, same photo, it's a little wider, but you can see, even though it's shielding the top and bottom, so the corners are being hidden from you, the edges are kind of vignetting a bit, and you know, kind of has some issues. So I don't know, it sounds like it would be kind of goofy to have it block or take those out of the way, because it would be really soft and vignetting in the corner, but you know, it's kind of fun, I guess, for some people. I'm not really into it. Here's the manual I got with it when I bought it. It's, you know, multi-language, so it's actually like really only a fourth of this or something is English. It has a ton of these. This light is kind of bad here, but if you look, it's like all these pictures. It's like they just did pictures instead of showing you, you know, what, like with text, it's just like telling you about it with all these images. There is some text obviously in here too where it talks about it, but it's kind of weird how there's all these figures with these photos. But and anyway, it's kind of interesting. I like the idea. The problems I have with it is, like any, you know, Ricoh, this LCD goes in and out. So because there's no film, it doesn't say anything here, but the numbers only, like most of them show, but some of the bars are missing. These icons, you know, right now are working. In 5 minutes or tomorrow, they may not work, and they just kind of go in and out, and you know, you'll be using it, you start to see them flicker and then disappear, and you know, that's really annoying. It's common apparently with these old Ricohs. See, right now everything's perfect, but if I had the numbers, you'd see a couple bars from the, you know, E for empty when you finish a roll, to, you know, and then 1 through 36. This thing's kind of lame that it only shoots 36. A lot of manual cameras, you can get 37, 38 exposures out of a roll 36. For some reason, these point and shoots, they kind of cut them off, and you know, you only get your 36 shots, which I guess, you know, take that as it will. What else? So that's kind of annoying. Actually, that I could kind of deal with. What really annoys me, to the point that I'm, you know, gonna sell this camera, I'm not gonna keep it long term. These in the Viewfinder is really cool. It's like the best point and shoot viewfinder I've seen compared to the Class S and some of the other ones I have, and the Olympus stylus and whatnot. It actually has the frame lines that shift around depending on the mode you're in, but like half of them aren't illuminated properly. I don't know what's going on with it. They're somehow electronically illuminated because you don't see them until you turn it on. It's not just the light that comes through the front is obviously how they get light, but it's like they don't illuminate without power. It's really weird. And then the focus ones, you know, there's the 3 focus points. If you focus on something in the center, it seems like it always glows. If you put it into the center mode, it will always glow. And then if you just have it in normal, it will. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's kind of annoying how the Viewfinder is just inconsistent. And you know, sometimes I just had to leave it on for a while, and then all the things would illuminate, and then other times it won't. And then lately, using it, it's just like they won't illuminate. So if you put it in a panorama mode, if you point the Viewfinder straight into the sun, you can kind of see at the bottom, like like say, pretend you guys are looking through the Viewfinder, it would say panorama down here in like a big bar. but it never illuminates like it's supposed to. Like I've seen some photos of other people who have like, I guess, working or fully working R1s. This works. I've shot like 4 or 5 rolls through it now. 5 rolls through it now. Works fine, but let's take a little picture. This will be faster without the flash. Yeah, so you can see it works fine, but it's super annoying how there's problems with the viewfinder. And you know, I guess I'm glad I didn't invest the kind of money like people do when they buy those Ricoh GRs. Sorry, the GR1s, because they're, at least on eBay, are painfully expensive. This was, you know, pretty cheap, but they just seem like a crapshoot and really unreliable. Unfortunately, my Class S had issues with the viewfinder where all the information at the bottom were display. I'm going to throw up some photos now while I'm talking. At the bottom of the display, there was you know, information on your shutter speed and the focus confirmation, and none of that illuminated on my Class S, and that actually is what caused me to sell it. I loved the images it made. That 38mm f2.8 lens it had was awesome, but that just drove me nuts. I had a Class W for a while, and I liked that, and it did fully work, but I wasn't super keen on the 28mm focal length. But I don't know, I did like it on, this is 30, which is pretty close, this R1, and I enjoy this thing's field of view, so I don't know what was going on with that. I think it was just the Class S and W are really fat, and that's the one redeeming factor of this. Going back to the camera real quick, here's the Ricoh R1. I mean, here's my iPhone 7, not a 7 Plus, and yeah, you know, obviously it's a smartphone's going to be a little bit longer, but I mean, it's a small camera. Like, this is just an iPhone 7. That's like a super thin phone, and maybe it's 3, you know, of the main body, like maybe 2.5, and then 3 if you can include a little bulge here and the bulge in the back. This is a tiny camera. This is literally, you just throw it in your pocket. It's super small. Throw it in your jeans pocket, even, you know, as long as you don't have like skinny jeans. If you just have normal jeans, this will fit in your jeans pocket. I put it in a hoodie front pocket all the time. Obviously a coat pocket, just this, like you'd put your hand pocket, it'll fit in there. Those like breast pockets inside of coats, you know, on the inside, or you might slide your phone, it'll fit there. Like, this thing is super tiny, and I love that. The only thing smaller than this is the, what do you call it? It's the Olympus Stylus Epic, but I don't know, I kind of like the look of this more than the Stylus Epic. It's more like flat, and I don't know, it's just more appealing, but the viewfinder not being fully functional just drives me nuts. I've looked at them to try to find one that's like new or, you know, close to fully working basically on eBay, and it just seems like all the ones that exist are, you know, for sale or for parts. Like you'll see that, like, they just don't work, they're all broken. So it seems like it's also like a, you know, like a ticking time bomb or a fuse that's about to burn out. You know, they're just not going to last, and that's kind of frustrating for me too. But, you know, if you are interested in one, it is kind of a cool camera. Hopefully you'd get one that doesn't have these viewfinder issues, because otherwise the images it takes are pretty cool. And that, for me at least, the wide angle panorama is pretty neat. Not so much the panorama on the 30mm length, but when you put in the 24mm mode, I think the panorama with the shields is kind of neat. And apparently if you're into it, you can put some time into jamming those little blinds, and then you can get supposedly super vignetting, super soft on the edge, 24mm on a 35mm negative, which is pretty unique for something this small. The only thing I would say is comparable would be that super expensive Ricoh GR1, and those are like $1,000 or $2,000, and have all the same problems where the LCDs are dead, and, you know, it's just like the Ricoh legacy. What would be amazing is if Ricoh would bring out like a GR3 digital that actually had a viewfinder like this with the frame lines. That would be freaking incredible. And, you know, I love film, but you know, digital is a little more practical for just kind of any, you know, kind of random point and shoot needs where you're just kind of capturing life, you know, keeping it in your pocket. But I don't think, you know, Ricoh would ever do that. I think the majority of people who buy digital point and shoots just use the LCD. So that's kind of a silly pipe dream. So, you know, if you want to explore that, you want a good viewfinder, if you get one that all the frame lines are working properly and don't have this problem of mine, I think you'd probably be really happy with it. And, you know, they're, I don't know, a tenth the cost of a a GR1, GR1S, 1V. Sometimes you can see those cheaper, but I typically see GR1V is the last one they made for, you know, close to $700 on eBay. And this, like I said, was like, you know, they're like 6 to 7. This was $40. So, you know, it's less than a tenth the cost. Even if it craps out on you, at least, you know, you're not down too much money. Those more expensive Ricohs, yeah, they're magnesium, but it's a scary investment. So yeah, hopefully you found this somewhat relevant, and if you were interested with this, if you're interested in the Ricoh Ultra Slim AF Compact with 24mm wide panorama R1, it's a hell of a mouthful there. It's kind of cool, and maybe you get one that's in better shape than this. Oh, you know what? One other thing, you can do a date stamp, and it has the timestamp if anyone's curious. Simple setting, and it works perfect on this one. I kind of like the fact that you can even do a kind of North American style date where it's a month, day, year. Some of the cameras I've had, you can't put it in that order because other countries don't like it that way. They force you to have the year at the front or whatever. But yeah, thanks.